Well, how much cash is in your wallet or purse right now? I'm going to say that it's not enough to get one of those bottles of wine, but going off the latest national survey, NAB reckons it's about $76. Your salary doesn't necessarily have any bearing on how much cash you carry, but if you're male, you typically carry more cash than a female would.
And if you're young, as you might expect, you probably have less in your wallet than an older person. This NAB report today certainly caught our eye because it had some pretty intriguing findings on why we still bother carrying it at all. We are headed towards a cashless society after all. We've got with us for the panel tonight Scott Phillips from The Motley Fool and Shivani Gopal from The Remarkable Woman. Guys, good to have you on the program. Yeah, $76 is apparently the average overall that we keep. Shivani, if we opened your wallet right now, what would you have in there? How much?
You know, you'd shake out about $3.50, I'd imagine. Just enough to get me a piccolo, and that's as far as it needs to go because I use Apple Pay and PayPass for all it's worth.
What, except for coffee though?
Even for coffee. Okay. So the $3.50 is probably changed from something that I don't even remember.
Yep.
I
like
am
last
known,
year.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm known to pay past anything from $2 to $20. It doesn't matter. I'll go cashless all the way.
Mm-hmm. The convenience of it all. What about you, Scott?
It's too easy, right? So the phone here, same thing. This is an Android one, but the same thing. Google Pay as much as I can. I'm even getting to your point, Shivani, going to the $3 purchase, the $4 purchase for the coffee. I felt guilty for a while, but I'm all in now. I have got about $120 in my wallet at the moment, but it was the first one to the ATM on the weekend, I want to say for about 2 or 3 months. I literally never use cash if I can.
So why is it in there now then? Why do you?
So that was,
but why do you need it at all? What's it in there for?
Good point. So at the weekend we're at like a fate thing. We had to have you've got to have cash at some point.
You've got to have cash at fate, yes.
At some point you have to have the cash. If you know you're going, well, I'll go and get some just in case I need it. And you do tend to pull it out for that stuff. If it's less than $5, I am tempted to think, oh, okay, I'll get the cash out because you feel a little bit strange doing the whole tap and pay thing when it's not that much money. But every time I can, and you know what, it's all about the gadget. Chris, I know you tweeted earlier about a gadget might get you to change sides. Once you got it on the phone, it kind of feels a bit
you're not going back.
Totally, and it's too easy to do it, right?
Well, you are right about the gadgets, and I think that takes away the shame, if anything. So previously, yes, I would feel terrible.
While you type in the PIN, sorry guys.
Exactly, we don't need to do that. Tap and go when you're away. So if anything, I get surprised when I see a cash-only sign, because I think, well, you've actually driven me away as a customer because of the convenience of tap and go.
See, you are preaching to the converted here, because I only really use card. There's a couple of circumstances where I don't use card, but Chris is like an all-cash guy.
I like
not all cash, but he loves cash. He always tells me this.
I will if there's a really juicy, awesome gift. There's a ring there from Bankwest. Well, maybe that's the one to get me. But no, I find that it is an interesting way to save money. I mean, I know that that's weird, but we talked a little bit about the pain of paying, and it's just so easy to kind of tap around. You know what else I found really interesting about this NAB survey is the allure of cash is apparently still very much a thing. They asked all of these survey respondents, if I were to give you $1,000, how would you want to receive it? And a large portion of them said, 58% said that they'd prefer it in cash.
Isn't that
despite the fact they don't actually want to use it.
Maybe it's
so if it's coming your way, if it's coming your way, you want the cold hard cash.
Totally.
If you're spending it, you don't want to think about it.
And that's the thing about Chris about saving money, I think. So if you're getting it, we know the value of the cash. If you can tap or do something else, it's kind of easy to spend so you don't worry so much. But if I'm getting it, I want it in the real stuff. Right?
Let's have a look at some of the top reasons that people carry cash, having decided that there's only about $76 roughly in the average purse or wallet. Personally, I reckon I forget my wallet about once to twice a week. It ends up in someone else's bag from my house, and I rarely find that is a problem because I do have coffee apps. You know, I actually can really get by. Now, this list is about the top reasons that people do carry cash. So for small transactions, that kind of goes with what you guys are saying. Emergencies.
Strange
Scott, emergencies.
Yeah, probably.
Well, that's what you're just saying, just in case. You know, you just might need it. We're used to carrying cash. Maybe we should just keep it.
No,
cash-only stores, I do not like cash-only stores. When they demand it from me, I find that a problem, especially actually some of my local Thai restaurants say pay cash and you get 10% off, which I just, I don't like it. You can tell they're paying people out of the till, etc.
Yeah, it makes it even more cringeworthy, actually. We went to lunch for Yum Cha and it's the same thing. Here's the cash price, here's the FPOS price. No. We paid the FPOS price. There was no way we were going to go to an ATM.
Yeah, I like them to record it in their register.
That's right.
Although I must say, when I do go to my local shops who I love supporting, and they even lend me money when I forget my wallet, which is...
That's a good local shop.
They do. They put it on. My butcher, Jason, he's fantastic. He said, "Did you forget your wallet? Do you want 20 bucks for the veggie store?" And I said, "Yes, thank you." They're so fantastic. But I actually like giving them cash sometimes for smaller amounts so they can avoid the surcharge costs that they have to pay on their end. So I do that as well. There was other. There was a category for other.
So I think I know what that other is.
Yes.
And it's usually if you're going out for lunch or brunch or dinner with the mates, then of course you're going to say, well, I think we're going to do split bills, and that's going to be really awkward. We've got to transfer. So you'll take out anywhere between 50 to 100 bucks, and you'll say, well, we'll do the split bills that way. And I think that's what the other refers to, because otherwise I couldn't see a reason why you would carry the cash. Sorry.
That's right. Well, yeah, you do get the person at the restaurant who kind of groans if you say, oh, yeah, we'll just split it 5 ways, don't you? I mean, they hate that.
Oh, let's not go into that. That's a whole other segment of the whole splitting it equally versus who ate what and who drank what.
I also have a theory that
you don't want to do that.
That's a whole different segment.
Yeah, that's ugly.
I have a theory that people who carry lots of cash are having extramarital affairs too.
Oh, I like that. I'm glad I only said 120 bucks now. I've said a couple $100 I've had the wallet. What's going on?
Parts of Australia are now going to go check each other's wallets tonight.
No, honestly, otherwise, why would you carry lots of cash?
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to, have no tracking of your spending. Anyway, that's I just reckon.
You know what? The RBA is still in the middle of bringing out all of these new fancy banknotes. They're kind of bringing out they've been waterproof for ages, but now they've got the ones for the vision impaired, all these sorts of things. But we're using cash less and less. We know that. I mean, is there any point to all of these, R&D into cash?
You know what's ironic about that? So not so much with the notes, because of course we've determined I don't carry the notes. But if I get a shiny $2 coin and it's brand new, I don't want to spend it. I'll keep it there. It's not going anywhere.
That is still the best thing about the ATM, right? When you get out well, it's not so much with plastic, but back in the old days, when you get the paper notes out, now the crisp new notes, it felt somehow a bit more special, a bit something, right? Rather than the crumpled 20 that kind of popped out of the machine. Yeah. There's something about that. I was at an airport in the US about 6 months ago, and a guy literally out of the jacket pocket, a wad of cash, I kid you not, an inch thick, put it through the scanning machine, got through the other side, picked it up, back in the jacket pocket.
Yeah.
What is going on there?
Well, as you said,
interstate affair.
You're not carrying just in case.
Or some kind of, accepting cash for payments, black economy stuff, So it's not good if you carry a lot of cash.
By the data, that person could have been a Tasmanian, because according to NAB,
this is interesting.
The highest rate of cash carrying is in Tasmania. The highest rate in terms of age groups is over 50s, and male versus female, it's male. So, I mean, for the nation's pickpockets,
If you're Tasmanian blokes are the absolute target right now.
It's just so obvious.
Exactly.
I mean, I love that Chris actually brought it back to the topic, unlike me. Thank you. Let's talk about the Coles Little Shoppers promotion. It has been a huge hit. This is where they award customers with a random miniature product of a supermarket item for every $30 that the parents spent. There's been some funny little videos about the Little Shop of Horrors because parents have just been nagged and nagged. It's the pest of power, I think. But why do you think this has been so successful? What do you guys think of this?
Oh, you know, I don't want to be a downer on this thing, but I reckon you think about what the kids are doing in video games these days, and the whole idea we've seen in the kind of the gambling part of the rewards you get when you play the video games on the phone or on the computer. You get a little bit of a reward. You get the jackpot idea, the poker machine kind of concept of what am I going to get this time? What am I going to get this time? Yeah. There's one thing when you get something every time you know what you're getting. There's another one. It's that idea of I'm going to spend the money. I'll get the packet. I wonder what's in the packet. And that idea is kind of a little bit just kind of doesn't sit really well with me. That you're kind of introducing kids to exactly that idea. I think that's why it's been so successful. Rather than
it's like a lottery.
If I spend money, I'll get this one thing. It's like if I spend the money, I wonder what I'll get. Mum, let's go and
wasn't
find
quite
it.
Right. Let's try another one. Yeah.
Right. I think that's a large part of what's been so successful. Of course, I mean they're cute little things you get and all that kind of stuff, so it's all great. But I think it is that lottery impact of what's in the bag that really does, it just plays with our minds. It does for adults as well. We know that with poker machines. It's the kid version to some degree.
Shivani, what do you think?
And it's not just the kids, you're very right. I was having a look to see if there's any data behind this, and what's really interesting is that 22% of shoppers would actually go to a Coles or a Woolworths if there was this promotion being at play. And it's not just that as well, so even flybys, for example. There was a CanStar research that I thought was really powerful, and 56% of shoppers would go even though they know they're spending more. And what's really interesting that's happened with Coles is, there's two things that I find really interesting. One, you going to go for milk and bread, and you've probably got some kids at home saying, well, I want that little, you know, Coles mini shopper, and I better not come back with the yolk. So apparently there's too much of that.
And the oat, that's right. I've seen that.
Far
too many oats being distributed. Yeah, not a lot of value on the second-hand market.
Exactly, exactly. Supply and demand, right? So you know, you're going to go and shop more, and you're going to get over that $30 threshold. But it took me back to my younger years. So I remember being in primary school, totally showing my age now, and that's okay. In primary school, Tarzos. Anyone remember Tarzos?
Oh,
right.
Tarzos.
Yes. How much did you nag your parents to get Lays and Lays only? And it
There's
worked.
so many examples. I mean, McDonald's did the Monopoly. Like, as a kid, I was obsessed with that Monopoly, trying to get all the bits on the board. I mean, it's a trick from the old...
You were obviously destined for that from the very beginning, right? Straight to the Monopoly game. Remember the Tarzos? I want a Monopoly. Houses, hotels, Mayfair, Park Lane, the whole box of dice.
There's so many. And then we were saying, you know, is it any different to Dolomites, you know, brainwashing of kids by the CBA? It's just kind of getting them young and
I think
just
it's right.
kind of...
I think it's a little... I mean, the kids
but...
probably aren't necessarily making the shopping decision, but mum and dad certainly are. Whether they stay there, that's the key. Because Woolworths have done it with their animal cards and all that kind of stuff. A little bit older than you, Siobhan. It reminds me of the football card thing, right? You get the pack of the 5 footy cards, and you pull out the old Scanlon's pack or whatever it was with Peter Sterling or Paul Vaughan or something like that. It's not all that dissimilar to the same kind of idea. I just don't like the lottery concept of it. That's the bit that kind of rubs me up the wrong
I think that's such a good point.
But the thing about it is that it works. I mean, Coles' latest result was good. You know, they had that increase in basket size. Presumably, people with $25 in the basket, they wanted to hit that $30, and it worked. So this is a well-worn path. Do we start seeing every business out there start to do a kind of a minis version or something like that? Is this a kind of a strategy that everyone can apply?
The interesting thing was it worked for Coles and it was to the detriment of Woolworths. So their first quarter data came out for 2019 and they were about 1.9% down on sales. So it actually took away from the market of Woolworths and went to Coles because they were actually changing the behaviours of shoppers.
Although whether they produced lifelong... lifelong change behaviour is like the other debate that the market's having right now.
Woolies comes out with it, goes back and forward.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're done with that thing, back to who we usually shop with. Now, we are we're putting to the side the big news of the evening. I can almost not get my words out about this. The Royals have arrived in Sydney, and we've just heard, as we're on air, that the royal baby is on its way. It's going to be next year. It's funny because we were looking at some of the footage today of their arrival, which we can show people. There was much excitement to see Harry and Meghan land. The folder. Everyone's been talking about the folder. Did you see it? They have 10 people travelling with them, all sorts of capabilities, but she's wanted to carry the folder. Why is that so precious? People were speculating what on earth is in the folder that she can't give it to anyone else.
Two words,
trust
Brooke.
them.
Baby names.
Baby names.
Baby names.
Now we know.
Top 500 baby names in that folder right there. They're going to be sitting there right now, relaxing, going through the list.
Spent the whole plane ride with the list.
Crossing them off, trying to talk to Harry. You want this
Top
one? No,
secret.
I don't like that one. Exactly.
It is top secret. This is worth big money, that type of stuff these days.
Yeah, see, doesn't it just give you the warm and fuzzies, right, when you hear that she's pregnant? I'm just so filled with happiness, and I don't know the two at all. I would love to know them if you're watching.
I'm sure they would be.
Oh, I'm sure they would be too. But, you know, I thought the whole folder thing was really wonderful, actually. I thought it showed how warm and down to earth she is. I mean, of course, I don't know what's in it, but one could assume that it would be the itinerary, it would be the briefing, all the people that they're meeting.
Actually, a commentator that seems to, well, they all say they know a lot about them, but one of them was suggesting that apparently she does do a lot of prep work before big engagements, and perhaps it says something about her work ethic, actually, that she wanted to be very well prepared for things. I think that was an interesting point.
I think it does.
And she hasn't been a royal for as long as Harry has. Presumably he knows exactly what to do when he's in those situations.
And it belies her history as an actress, right? So that she's used to learning the lines, going through, doing the prep. I mean, you can understand why that kind of work ethic, to your point, Brooke, would be exactly that story of go and do the work, understand what you're doing. And Chris, to your point, I think that's right. I can't imagine being the new royal, kind of joining the family firm and then having to go and do those engagements, remember names and faces and places. And I'm glad it's her, not me.
Do we spare a thought for the latest royal wedding, which was this week, and now it was kind of blown out of the water beforehand by the
They were good to keep it till after, weren't they?
And then blew it out of the water straight afterwards.
They got their ratings. They got their ratings.
Baby name, I'm thinking they're in Sydney. It's got to be Sydney.
Well, I was going to say, while they're in Sydney, they're going to have to add a few Aussie names. Kevin, Bruce,
Bruce, there we go.
Daryl, Scotty.
There you go. Heard it here first.
But it made us think, though, if you were a princess carrying around a folder, Or a prized possession? What do you think, Shivani? What would it be if you were the princess? What would you carry around? What would be prized for you?
If it wasn't the folder?
Yeah.
You mean?
It looked like a prized possession, like that was really important to her, that folder.
Yeah, so...
Yours.
I think we all have an inner princess in us, and so and you've got to celebrate
Scott
it. And
does,
for
for
me,
sure.
it would be a bag of flats. It would be flat shoes, because I know that I need to get into my heels and out of my heels at any one point in time.
Yep.
So if I wanted to disguise it, if it was, you know, in my calico bag, I would put it into a folder, nice and flat, and I'd get away with that just fine. I think.
That's
Scott?
fun. I like that. Oh, I don't know. I think I'll be a prince rather than princess.
Okay, you can do that.
Just for the purpose of this one, I reckon if you're going to do that, you're probably going to have. If you're don't want something raw, right? It's got to be something that sort of says who you are, what you're doing. Maybe it's I don't know, something that kind of says I'm Prince Harry or I'm Prince William. One of those kind of ideas.
Yes.
Just, you know, because you can, right? It's that thing of because I can, I'm going to just do this thing.
Yeah.
So something from the palace, something you know, maybe a small crown or something.
They don't usually
down
bring
the
around the sceptres, do they? They kind of the royal stuff, so they can just pop a quick knighting on somebody.
There you go. Yeah, just maybe a little mini sceptre, a little Coles little shop mini sceptre in the folder.
I wonder if they have to have an elevator pitch. You know, as we do in business, this is who I am, this is what I stand for. They might have a little elevator pitch for wherever they're going, and you know, making sure it's relatable.
I think it's work. I don't know what that's got to do with money, but you know, I guess in the end, it all comes back to the boom for the economy. Actually, we'll be talking about this week.
Can you imagine the merchandise
viewers.
sales?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about there's some small businesses on Orange who are absolutely in Dubbo who are super excited about the visit this week, and it means a lot to them in terms of business sentiment and the rest. Guys, thank you very much. Great fun.